Hello everyone, I'm here with Mr. Viken Attarian, one of the aspiring candidates for the Liberal Party in the upcoming federal elections for the Ahuntsic-Cartierville riding. Viken, you're the globetrotter from pretty much coming from the Middle East to Canada. If you could give us a little bit about your background.
I was born in Beirut, Lebanon, where I grew up, and I participated in the various youth movements of the time, mainly the Scouting movement. And at around age, slightly before I reached 18, the Lebanese Civil War started.
Mm-hmm.
And I applied for a scholarship to study abroad. And I studied in what is now today the Czech Republic. At the time it used to be a country called Czechoslovakia. Over there I studied the Czech language, and then afterwards continued my studies at the university in electrical engineering. I received my master's diploma from there, specializing in computer and telecommunications networks. Then I moved on to France, where I continued my study in what they call troisième cycle. I was a DEA troisième cycle researcher in mathematical modeling of computer systems in Grenoble, which was one of the grandes écoles, as they say in France, Institut National Polytechnique de Grenoble. After that, I was recruited from there to work in Canada by Manitoba Telephone Systems, and the idea was that I would be managing various projects, which they were at the time implementing those projects in Saudi Arabia. So they were looking for people who had both the cultural knowledge of the region and who had the technical expertise to manage the project, because they were having problems from both sides of the equation. The technical people were not able to deal with the local folks, and vice versa. So I was recruited at the time, and then I moved to Winnipeg, where I spent about 2 years working for Manitoba Telephone Systems on their various, as a system engineer, various design and understanding the technology. Unfortunately, what happened in between that, the visa opportunities for non-Canadians were closed by Saudi Arabia, so I ended up staying in Canada and becoming a landed immigrant. Then I moved to Montreal in 1986, where I lived in the riding of Ahuntsic-Cartierville. And I worked for Pratt & Whitney Canada for over 16 years. During that time frame, I worked mostly as a system design engineer for telecommunication networks, and I progressed in the ranks. I eventually became the manager of the networking and telecommunication department, and I became the assistant to the CIO, and progressed in various positions, technical and professional. And then I moved on to other companies where I worked in various executive and senior management positions. I worked for Computer Sciences Corporation, and then I worked on various accounts of Computer Sciences Corporation, like Nortel Networks, Bombardier Transportation, Bell Helicopter, Textron, almost all the high-tech aerospace companies, and in between I worked on various other accounts globally. So that's sort of my professional career. I've lived and studied and worked on 3 continents, and simultaneously I have my own personal interests, which are related to various socio-political issues, cultural issues, and so on. So I've been invited to various conferences, and I've given various sessions and lectures on various topics. You can do a Google search, and then you can find a lot of them.
You have a number of contributions, both within the community, within the Armenian community, and also within the Canadian community at the international level. You have a long service emeritus award by the Lieutenant Governor of Quebec. You have been honored 3 times in recognition from the Parliament of Canada. You've been honored also by Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II's Diamond Jubilee Medal. Can you give us a little bit about? Can you give us a little bit of a background on some of those contributions?
Well, I've been raised and I grew up with the idea that services to the societies we live in is fundamentally what makes us human. Because interest in other human beings is very important. We don't live in isolation. It's best. So volunteering and service is something that has always been in my family and in my own being all the time. From the Armenian community level, I've served mostly at the Armenian General Benevolent Union, the world's largest philanthropic organization. And I've served in various capacities. I was actually the chairperson of the Montreal chapter of that organization. And I've helped launch its scouting movement, which eventually became very significant and very strongly organized and won several awards. I have been recognized for that work by the Scouting Society. I'm a member of the Honorary Society of Scouts Canada, and my emeritus awards are related to that. As for the other recognitions are given for volunteering and service to Canada. Professionally, I've also volunteered in various settings. For example, I was on the board of directors of the Canadian Business Telecommunications Alliance, which for over 25 years had lobbied for competition in telecommunication services in Canada. I was actually the director of regulatory intervention, which means we have been intervening with the Canadian Radio Telecommunications Commission, the CRTC, for hundreds of times, and all of those files have passed through my desk. And we introduced competition in telecommunications. As a result, this was an association of the 200 largest corporations in Canada.
Correct, yes.
So as a result, what has happened is that all Canadian businesses today enjoy economies in the billions of dollars every year. And that's due to that effort that we have done. I have also worked on a technical committee with the CRTC where we looked at how businesses can force companies in competition to have local number portability, which means that the business, when it changes service providers, in the old days, it could not take its numbers with it, which meant that its customers would not be able to call the same number.
They would be stuck with it.
They would be stuck with having new numbers. But through our efforts, which we worked for 5 years in various technical committees, we implemented both technical and administrative solutions to this problem. And today, not only businesses, also every single Canadian citizen, when you change your service provider, you can take your number with you, which is extremely important. Correct. So that's another contribution. It's work in the background. This has been recognized by the CRTC with a special certificate for my contribution to the industry. I have done a lot of other works in human rights. I have spoken at various conferences. I worked with the Canada-Tibet Committee to basically assist them in the recognition of the work that has been done by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, organize meetings between the Dalai Lama and the Prime Minister of Canada. So all of these things have made in such a way that contribution to society it must happen at a larger level. That's what I believe. It's not only local to your community. And it's basically helped me grow as a person. And it's in recognition of all those things that I have received those awards that you mentioned. But it's not for those awards that you do them. You do them because you want to do them. And then if the recognition comes, it is extremely gratifying.